Hey there, welcome. I'm Jenna and today's video is all about Nescafe Gold, their plant-based range. So the Almond Latte is the one that I have been trying out. Before I get into this though, I want to give a huge shout out to Mouths of Mums and thank them very much for choosing me as part of their review team. I was sent this product for free by Mouths of Mums, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to give you my 100% honest opinion. All of these opinions are my own. It's not sponsored. I just got the product. And let's get into reviewing the product. So this is part of their new range, which is the plant-based range. It's vegan friendly and also dairy free. You do get 3 options in this range. You get the almond latte, which is the one I've been testing, but you can also get a coconut latte and an oat latte if you have a different preference, but you do have 3 options within this range, which is fantastic. Let's talk about packaging really quickly before we move on to taste. This is the carton. So you get 6 serves in this packet here. Just your standard box like any other sachet coffee. And then this is the actual sachet here, which, you know, is like any other standard sachet. If you've ever had sachet coffee before, you know exactly, like you would recognize this. Easy to tear, easy to pour. No faults, basically. So moving on from the packaging and onto the actual taste of the product, I wanted to see if it actually tasted like almond milk. So that's why I chose the almond latte and not any of the other ones. Although the coconut latte sounds really good. So I might end up picking that one up and checking that out as well. But I'm not actually lactose intolerant. I'm not dairy free. I'm not vegan. I just really like coffee and I wanted to see how these compared. So taste wise, it is really good. It tastes like an almond latte. It doesn't taste weird or anything. It is a little bit too sweet for my liking though, and that kind of veers off into the points that I don't like about this product. But if we're just talking about taste, it does taste nice. I do like it. I do think that this is a great alternative to dairy if you are dairy free, if you're lactose intolerant. I do think that this is a good alternative. However, this is a little bit too sweet for my liking. And I do have a little bit of a sweet tooth. So I love a sweet coffee, but I don't like a sweet coffee where it's not needed. And this is kind of one of those cases. I found that I just wasn't expecting it to be as sweet as it was. And then looking at the box, like looking at the ingredients, the first 2 ingredients are glucose syrup and sugar, which I wasn't impressed with. I think it's unnecessary. I just was a bit disappointed to see glucose syrup and sugar as the very first 2 ingredients, which means that they're the ingredients of the highest concentration in the product. So yeah, and for me to even be able to taste it in my coffee, that it is a little bit too sweet. I mean, it's not offensively sweet. It was just something that I noticed with the very first cup. I was like, oh, that's sweeter than I expected. And that could just be because I'm used to almond coffee that doesn't have any sweetener in it, so it's really not sweet. That could just be personal preference, but I don't know, I just personally don't like the idea of having that much sugar or having sugar as the first 2 ingredients on the list. But you know, that's my own thing, but I just would prefer them to be lower down personally. Okay, so then that brings us on to the next issue that I have with this product, and it is the texture of it. When you first start drinking it, it's fine. It's normal, but it's almost like it thickens as it sits. if you're one of those people who just sits there and like drinks your coffee pretty much straight away, then you probably won't even notice it, because it's like a normal latte. It's not super thick or anything, but it feels like as it sits, it thickens a little bit. And this has been sitting here while I've been recording, and even just in between sips, I mean, it was a good couple of minutes, it feels thicker now than it did a couple of minutes ago. And I've noticed that with all of them. Like, I've literally finished this whole box except for, you know, the one little sachet that I've got over here. So this is 5 coffees that I have gone through, and I've had the same issue with all of them. And it just, when you get, it's kind of when you get to the bottom of the cup, or the last third of the cup, that's where you really start to notice that it feels a bit thicker in your mouth. Like, it just feels thicker to drink. It just feels a bit weird. And I mean, this isn't a small cup. This is a pretty big cup, and I tend to have, I've got this one and I've got another cup which is actually, they're quite large. So you're putting more than 200 mils in there. It's not the fact that I'm not putting enough water. It's not that I'm adding milk to it, because I've tried it both ways. I've tried it with or without milk, and it made no difference to it. It's still got that really thick sort of feeling towards the end of the cup. So I don't really know what it is, but it's not very pleasant. I don't know, it's a bit of a bizarre feeling, and I haven't gotten to the bottom of the cup to actually show you. Like, I've found sludge in the bottom of it. It's gotten so thick, and I haven't even finished the last bit of it because it's too thick. It's it just, I don't know. I will sit here and finish this cup, and I will try and show you what I mean. Be right back. Here we go. So there's still a little bit there's still a bit left in there, but it's not really doing it because I've mixed it now. You can't really see it because I've disturbed it now. I'll leave it for a couple of minutes and then I'll try and show you what it actually means. But yeah, other than the sweetness of it and that feeling, like the mouth feel, I guess is the right word, or the feeling, the thickening of it as it sits. Other than that, I think it's a great alternative. If you're somebody who just sits there and drinks your coffee pretty much straight away and you don't let it sit, like I have a toddler, so I will quite often put my coffee down and then come back to it. So for me, because I tend to be that coffee drinker, it starts to feel a bit weird at the end, and it becomes less enjoyable as I drink it because of that. But when it comes to taste, it is great, and I love the fact that they have made an alternative for vegans and people who are dairy free or lactose intolerant. I think it's a great alternative. For me, I didn't like that thickening of it, and it was just slightly too sweet for me. I think if they took out a little bit of the sugar or a little bit of the sweetener and fixed that thick issue, the textural issue, I think it would be a huge big 10 out of 10 thumbs up for me. But unfortunately, it just falls a little bit short. It's not to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm never buying them again. I've mentioned in the video earlier, there is a coconut latte version of that. Despite that textural issue that I'm having, I would still purchase the coconut lattes to see if I prefer them. But let's see if this has been sitting for long enough for me to show you. No, it's not going to do it. But I don't know if you can actually, oh God. I don't know if you can actually see how thick it is in the bottom of the cup. I don't know if that's coming across or not, but it's just a little bit too thick, especially when you get down to the bottom. And I don't want to have to keep mixing it for that not to happen. The instructions do actually say that you have to mix it again. I have followed the instructions and it still does it. It's not that I am not doing it right, I'm not following the instructions. It's not that I'm adding milk to it, it's the product itself. Thank you so much, Mouths of Mums, for allowing me to take part in this review process. I had a lot of fun, as I always do, with doing these reviews. So thank you so much for allowing me to be part of it all. And that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.